Sublime magnificence.
Hey guys, you know who it is, what's going on, when it's happening, where it's at, and why we're here today. How you doing? It is I, the sublimely magnificent Big Ugly himself, Omari Ellis Feo Grande on YouTube, back with another episode of This Guy Hasn't Seen, and as usual, I am joined by one of my best friends in the world, my co-host and running mate, El Director himself, Bill Smith.
Hey Omari, thank you for having me back as always. It is such a pleasure to be here doing this little movie club thing that we have created, and we invite you to watch along with us. I think these movies, if you happen to watch us, that's crazy.
Very much appreciated.
Credit to you. I think it would be I hope you're watching the movies along with us. If you've seen them, it's good to refresh them. If you haven't seen it, you absolutely should be watching it because we're going to be spoiling whatever it is, including this movie tonight. Why did you? What? Why? Where?
We're
How?
watching 47 Ronin, the 2013 version, hopefully.
47 Ronin from 2013, rated PG-13. A band of samurai sets out to avenge the death and dishonor of their master at the hands of a ruthless shogun. Directed by Carl Rinch, writer Chris Morgan, Hossein Amini, Walter Hamada. It stars Keanu Reeves, Hiroyuki Sanada, and Ko Shibisaka. Omari, why 47 Ronin?
So a while back, we did a movie on here, Battle Royale, Japanese film from whatever. In that movie, there was a character that we talked about that was one of the focuses of the character, and despite not being the main character, she eventually was like the poster girl, or one of the poster girls for the thing, and that's Mizuko, the character, or I believe in that movie, that had the scythe or the sickle and was going around doing her own thing. We were talking about her being one of the better performances of that movie, and I was like, I wonder if she ever did anything else. So I took a quick look to the internet and found out that she was in the 47 Ronin, and I was like, I want to watch this as we just talked about her here. This would be a nice little follow-up. Fast forward to 6 months later, I finally get around to watching 47 Ronin.
So it's been on your private list for some time.
Yeah, it's been on my list of watch this so that we can talk about it here.
This was fully calculated.
Yeah, because I asked if you had seen it, you said no. I was like, all right, I want to watch this, so I know.
Check.
Suggest it. So that was the main reason I did it, and then, as we know, my list of movies to suggest from is shorter than your list of movies to suggest from. And I figured with Best of the Best and You Got Served being the two movies that preceded this one, it was a good enough time and good enough vibe to suggest this one as well. Also, fun fact, what's his name? The Sanada, Hiroyuki Sanada. It's not spoilers to say, but he is in John Wick 4. And so I thought that would be cool of Keanu working with that guy in an earlier movie, as well as us with the earlier review about Ko Shibasaki.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So, Bill, you have not seen 47 Ronin. Oh, also, I would have watched it probably back in theaters when it came out, just because trailers made it seem like it'd be a lot more different than it ended up being. But I had interest in it coming out when the movie was announced back then. I just missed it. But Bill, had you heard about 47 Ronin? Did you plan on seeing it? Plan on not seeing it?
Yes, I had heard of it. so this is time capsuling it here. This is literally the year before John Wick comes out and the Keanu Sans occurs. I was not paying attention to Keanu Reeves stuff at this point in my life. I do not believe. It because I slept on John Wick for a minute. I was pretty like I think I was somebody who watched John Wick right before John Wick 2 came out. Because I was like, oh, okay, this is a thing.
I'm in a similar boat.
Let me check in on this. So I was not really seeking out Keanu Reeves stuff, and then just I don't know, like on face value of just like white guy goes to Japan and is the best at Japan things is just one of those just one of those things where it's like, all right, and I like good or bad, the me who is me hears that and just instinctually will roll my eyes at it now. And this is somebody who loved, we talked about earlier, maybe a pick of mine. I don't know. Who knows? We'll see. We talked about the fact that you had not seen Last Samurai.
Correct.
This is a movie that I watched a bunch when I was a kid. And it's same thing. White guy goes to Japan, is suddenly in the top class of people doing Japanese things very quickly, kind of thing. It's a running trope, and I watched that movie a bunch.
I feel like that is a running trope because I'm not going to refute that statement, but I do feel like there are tons of movies and other things in media in the other country where it's like the reverse of, oh, our guy goes over there and is the best at their things. It's kind of the way you put it, just because target audiences as well over here. They're like, yo, hey, and they wanted to get like the weebs and shit on it too, where it's like, hey there, weeb, don't you wish you could go to Japan and be like a cool samurai?
All right, so we're gonna do this. We're gonna do this now. What's a weeb?
A weeaboo or weeb? All right, so weeb, or the term weeaboo, from what I know or what I've been told, is a derogatory term for people who are super duper obsessed with anime. Not like, I like anime a lot. Some people have referred to me as one. I say I'm not, because there's some shit that there's a level of that I'm not going down. I'm talking like full body pillows, full ha ha ha, this is my waifu desu and shit like that. Those is what I consider as weeaboos. People who are like complete over glorification of over there, and that's a derogatory term with that. Weeb is kind of like a shorter version of that, that's not quite as derogatory and more universal, just anime fans. That kind of like the whole we're reclaiming this slur by doing a shorter version type
Got
deal.
it.
Yeah.
Okay. It's one of those that I had always seen and was always
essentially
just never fully knew what we were all talking about when that was.
Essentially, it's anime fans. But
Fair
yes.
enough. So yeah, it's not like it's the worst. I'm not sitting here trying to pick at the movie or anything like that. It was just simply me saying the me who had not seen that and was just looking at a poster and maybe seeing bits of a trailer was very easily able to go, I've seen that. I've seen that when it was called Last Samurai.
Okay.
Or when or when it's called the story of Batman's origin, or it's a million other things in our pop culture.
That's fair.
So yeah, those are just probably some of the hits on why. And then oddly, like 4 days before you selected this movie, something happened that inevitably is going to pre-cloud my judgment on the movie a little bit. And it's this weird kind of headline, I say in air quotes, on like a home page, a splash page for a website. Mine at work when I open my web browser is msn.com. No free plug for msn.com. Just saying that. And it's one of those where like if you don't change the page, it like cycles through some things.
Yeah.
Right. And like 3 days before you suggest this movie, something around there, I'm at work and it cycles to Keanu Reeves in a top knot. And like, you won't believe this Keanu Reeves movie is the largest flop of his career.
That's funny.
I didn't open like you just see the picture attached and you're like 47 Ronin. You could see the little bits. It's like a here shot.
So from like near the end.
Yeah, maybe. But yeah, he's got or it might just be something when he's like near his hut in the beginning.
Oh, okay.
And it's just like this, and you can see the little bit of like a Japanese robe going on, and yeah, it's like, all right, well, that's obviously.
Yeah, not to say what I think of the movie overall, but I would believe. I would completely believe. Not to say it's good or bad, but I could believe that based on all those other movies, if one of them was going to be a flop, it's 47 Ronin. Anyway, so expectations given that?
So that kind of laid a certain expectation out. I'm not gonna lie.
That's fair.
I was like, okay, so this, I mean, but this also could be, because the thing is, a lot of times those articles are like, maybe I don't want to say this is fact. This is what I think. Those articles are the weird version of advertisements in the new digital age.
I can see that.
Where that is actually advertising the fact that it's currently living on Peacock, because at some point in that article it's going to say you won't believe this because everybody's watching it right now on Peacock. It's crazy that this movie that flopped when it originally came out is now having a second life on peacock.com. Go to peacock.com. Free trial membership. Like
it's actually smart. But
so like you never know if that, so I'm not really putting a lot of stock in it. I am aware of the timeline of this. I know right before John Wick. And so I'm wondering, there's a part of me that's wondering, is it just because we were sleeping on Keanu? Could this be John Wick Samurai? Like this could very easily be John Wick Samurai. I don't know.
Yeah.
So it's a mixed bag of real, potentially extremely high expectations with bottom barrel expectations.
Yeah, they could be
fluctuating. Yeah.
Okay, no, that's fair. So with that said, we'll go ahead, I guess, go right into the initial reactions you had.
I'm like, is this Keanu? No, that's not Keanu, but it's a weird choice for the narrator. Who is this? I don't know who it is. It almost sounds like Keanu doing a weird voice. No, it's not Keanu. Okay. Well, and then I'm in, and I'm learning about Ronin and all of that.
Yeah.
But that was my very first initial reaction. I was like, who's the narrator? Is this Keanu? I don't think so.
But yeah,
it's
the mysticization of like ancient Japan, or like make it like extra mystical and shit, that just Western cultures talk about, like tropes and stuff. Oh yes, we have to talk about the Oni and stuff, legend tales in Asia. It's just one of those things where it's like, And like you were saying about, I've seen this movie a lot. That was one of those things I thought when it came on, I'm like, okay. Oh, to know the tale of the 47, to know the history of all Japan. I have never heard of this at all. Even though, not that I'm a history buff or anything, I am not when it comes to American history, let alone Japanese.
Yeah, I've learned since watching this movie that the legend of the 47 Ronin is not a legend. It's a real story.
Okay.
Of the outline of this movie is essentially what occurred, but with different details.
Like demons.
A master was what it appears to be a master was just being a d-bag at a party, tried to make a move on another master, got caught, got shamed, got told to commit ritual suicide by the shogun. Okay. And then 2 years later, 47 Ronin reappeared at the other master that lived and chopped off his head. And then the shogun made all 47 of them commit ritual suicide. So that story really does exist, and like their gravesite right near their master's grave still exists to this day, and you can visit it in Japan.
Okay.
So that nugget of, but like, Mika wedding, like attacking him on his wedding night, Keanu entirely, none of that was a thing.
Fair enough. And yeah, so like I said, we get I mentioned what the actors and stuff that I found similar in this movie. I already mentioned that part. Like, yeah. I will say.
Oh man, the second we get to adulthood, and my man Hiroyuki Sanada shows up. Ooh, I'm pumped because he's in Last Samurai. That's how similar of these. That's how like he's literally the Tom Cruise foil in Last Samurai. He's playing the same part, but you love him. He's so good in everything that he does. And so the second he came on screen, I was like, okay, at the very least, it's got this dude. So
that's kind of how I felt when I first watched it as well. I was like, okay, well, it can't be, because I liked him in John Wick 4. But yeah, so we got that. It was fun looking at some of the tropes and names and stuff, like the villain being named Kira, and the fact that that's a common trope in a lot of like anime and other Japanese literature, because it's like them saying the word killer in English, but with a Japanese accent. They say Kira.
That's the real Lord's name.
That's the real Lord's name as well.
That's the weird thing that they kept. The weird thing that they kept exactly identical were the two Lords' names. They are the real lords that were involved in this 47 Ronin scenario.
That's even more hilarious that that's like somebody being named like Karen or something in real life and being a disagreeable person. And people are like, you're making it bad for the rest of them. You're not helping the stereotype. And Lord Kira was not helping the stereotype. But that's cool that this is a spin on like a real story. But yeah, early on, you're right. The childhood stuff with the like claws on the head, I'm kind of glad they didn't stick too long with the growing up phase. They kind of just, it's a pretty fast-paced movie. It's a fast enough paced movie. It's pretty much just like an hour and 45 minutes or something. Just
oh man, it's like a little mini game I play as I'm seeking out wherever I'm going to play whatever movie we're watching, even the ones I select, and I'm going through typing it out in whatever search bar, hitting enter, sub 2 hour, sub 2 hour, sub 2 hour, sub 2 hour. A button. 58. Yeah. Fuck yeah.
It's always great when you get those like shows like, wow, 90 minutes. Damn. All right.
Oh
like
man.
best of the best.
When we
like...
do a 95 minuter, woo baby. Woo baby. Feel like I'm on vacation.
Oh. But no, I did like that, to talk about like the Keanu being in this with the whole white guy goes to Japan thing. I did like that they decided to do it as like a half-breed thing, so it's not like he's supposed to be entirely white or entirely Asian, so it's not entirely white savior, but he is, a half-breed guy over here. It's like, so this is how we can explain why we have Keanu Reeves in a movie called The 47 Ronin. But no, I liked that kind of spin on it. But the early on, you get the witch and stuff. My first time watching, I didn't remember Ko's real name, so I wasn't able to confirm who was who. So I thought the witch was Ko. I was like, man, she grew up and still was playing a villain. So the whole time, the first time, I'm watching this thinking like, so this is, man, she's different, And then I watched this, I was like, oh, I can actually IMDb look at the names. Oh, Miko was
Rinko Kikuchi.
Yeah.
Is the witch. Yeah, in that opening scene, like they're going for the hunt. So surprising to me. Because you like my ear twitched a little bit when Keanu said the creature. The creature is disturbed. Something. He's up there. Blah blah blah. And like I gave a little bit of a pause to like creature. That's a weird word choice. Okay. And when that thing comes into frame, jumping over the guys and running away, like, oh, it's like it's like hard fantasy. Okay, let's do this. Okay, that's what's gonna separate it from the other versions of this movie that I've seen.
Yeah, and yeah, that first scene with them slaying the beast was cool. And yeah, sure enough, you're right. Like Keanu Reeves is like, I gotta help. He picks up the sword for that one, or he saves the life of one of the samurai, sliding under the beast, just like he is fucking John Wick's ancestor or whatever.
Right. Yeah, in a few scenes in this movie, it turns out he is doing John Wick Samurai.
It's like, oh, okay, this is John Wick's ancestor. This explains it. The bloodline continued somehow. I'm like, oh man, if only they would have thought enough to just, or not even just thought, but the coincidences had it that Wick's dead wife would have been played by Ko or whatever. And his line at the end of the movie, for 1,000 lifetimes, in 1,000 universes, I will search till I find you. And then y'all killed her? No wonder he's depressed. But that's just me trying to make a lore that's not there. Anyway.
Right. That's a better movie.
But yeah, no, Keanu... Oh yeah, eventually, though, Keanu realizes there's a fox with heterochromia with the two different color eyes, and Lord Kira and the Shogun come to town to have a tournament. I guess just be like, who's got the strongest motherfucker underneath them? Have them fight to the death for the Shogun's pleasure or some shit. But Keanu, seeing that there's a woman with the red and blue eyes or whatever, a woman with the same heterochromia as the fox, is like, that's a witch. When we need to stop her. To which Sanada, or Oishi, as his character's name is in the movie, is like, are you a demon? Do you know? Then shut up. You just think a chick's hot. Come on.
Yeah.
It's like,
Straight up, that's what he said.
But nope, he was right. She's a witch. She poisons the dude's champion. And so Keanu puts on the armor to fight the big
Why are there
dude.
no other people back there? Why is that dude back there by himself?
Anybody could poison it. You don't even need a witch to just be like that. Also, let's say got some. Who's just letting a wild fox run around backstage?
And it's just like, where's his boys at? This dude's about ready to fight for the entire clan, and his boys ain't with him? What is going on? How's he gonna put on his armor by himself? Don't they need help?
Why is not somebody else, not Keanu, that is still capable, but they just weren't the champion? Why can't one of them put on the armor? It just had to be a samurai.
Yeah.
But Keanu puts on the armor.
Bad decision, bro.
He loses, and
You probably would have still gotten beat, but you could have just yelled like, "Hey, this dude's dying back here!" Like, what happened to that dude? We don't know. Never spoken of again. Never spoken of again. Nobody gives a fuck about that dude. He was about ready to fight for the entire clan on the tournament. Gone. Nobody gives a fuck.
like, he's been bewitched. All right, Keanu, put on the suit and go out there, and we will never speak of this man again.
Never.
No. There were so many things they could have done differently. Anyway, Keanu loses, gets his helmet knocked off, reveals his shame, or his master's shame, to the world because he had some half-breed non-samurai perform.
You had one job,
Shogun.
Keanu. You had one job. Don't let that fucking helmet get knocked off.
And they get ready to kill Keanu, but Mika, the princess, steps in. Lord takes the fall for him because he took Keanu in as a kid or something. He's like, please don't. The fault is mine. Could also be like, hey, there's a dude that's like, the guy is poisoned down over there. We needed someone to put on the armor. We didn't want to disgrace you by Shogun. Some shit like that. You don't even got to use the word witch. Just go look at the boy. He ain't fighting nobody. But no, instead he gets beaten, like, publicly or whatever. And then later in the night, the witch again, who, this whole movie, I saw what they did. They decided to make her have this flowy robe so they could just use that effect to, like, see as a CGI transition for her being in one state to another. But it was an interesting enough artistic choice to me to where I'm like, yeah, that's a good way to play that off. Like, she moves.
No, I loved the robe work.
Yeah.
Loved it.
Yeah. So she's one of the people in this movie that's like, this is my role. I'm playing this role this way, and this is what I'm doing. And she was fun in the movie, but she cast her witchery on the Lord, and he starts imagining that Kira's attacking his daughter. So he goes and gets ready to kill Kira, only to be caught by the Shogun and then arrested for his shame. So instead of just being a dick that decided to attack another dude at a party, he was framed through witchery into doing this. So do that, we get the seppuku scene, and that was always one of those interesting parts of, like, Japanese culture, like ancient culture, where I'm just like, every culture has things that people question about. I'm not besmirching it at all, but it's like, how did they come to the idea of this ritualistic, this is the way to die, you know what I mean? It's cool.
Yeah.
It's cool that that's part of their culture, and I like the uniqueness of it. But it's just one of those things where I don't know how someone just thought one day, like, you know what, you're gonna have the procedure. And ways, and I just love the like nuance. I just love the differentness of the culture because it's just very Japanese, or not Jap. You know what I mean? It's very much in and of itself.
Yeah,
It's good.
It's specific to them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I believe the idea of everything that's going on in the movie is historically accurate. I can't speak to all of the rituals being historically accurate to it, but boy, it is it is powerful, it is affecting. Um and it'll be an opportunity for me to bring up what I believe is the worst downfall of this film.
Okay.
And that is that it is PG-13. And we do not get a single drop of blood throughout the entire thing. A movie
that explains a lot. I didn't even think about the rating.
A movie involving not only katana sword fighting. Let's put that out there, but then 48 different suicides by gut stabbing. And they don't just go ahead and say that this movie is going to have an R rating. Like, more than likely, because of the content matter, they had to go so far in the other direction on like the no blood and all of that to be able to get this through to a PG-13 and still be showing as much as they do of suicide.
Yeah.
So I think it is a detriment to this movie.
I think that's fair. It may also just be one of those things where I guess, because I agree with you. You said something about them having to go the whole way just so they could depict all of this. Depending on who's doing it, they probably didn't want it to be like constantly like showing. They're like, okay, if we're gonna show one, we might as well show a shit ton just to really drag it home. Or they just wanted to focus on the whole glorification.
And I'm not saying I need.
Oh yeah.
I need to see knife insertion or twisting or anything like that. But
there's a lot
you set up this canvas of them literally wearing perfect white and sitting on perfect crisp white mats. Like, give me a little bit of a red pool there.
Yeah.
Give me some red stains coming into the clothes. Like, and
I'll give you that. Like I said, I agree that it is kind of to the detriment. And even if you don't just talk about the seppuku, it's the fighting.
Yeah.
The no blood in the fighting and everything. I will say I agree with you with that. It did not bother me as much, but I do agree that is something that I noticed. I think this time during one of the climactic moments, I was like, was it really just that?
And even I would argue even farther that I would love it. Like if they allowed a little bit of, and I'm not someone who loves gore. Normally I deter from it, but we're fucking around with swords here. We're fucking around with big, giant, historically sharp swords, like renownedly sharp swords are ancient Japanese samurai swords. So like, we're all fucking around with those. There's going to be cuts. There's going to be blood. I'm not a child. If the actual fights used blood and actual consequences a little bit more realistically, then the lack of showing anything in our two ritual scenes would be an artistic choice that I would love. The fact that they would stay really tight on the close-ups of either Keanu or the Lord in the first scene, and just see seeing the winces and stuff.
Yeah, we are in agreement there.
Yeah, then that would be an artistic choice. Instead, it is just you. You can't say that because you didn't show anything else anywhere else in the movie. So I can only accuse you for just
not having any,
just playing it a little too safe. Okay. And I just wish they would have gone R, and like I said, I'm not saying I want
R and done what you just said.
Yeah, I'm not saying I want like Quentin Tarantino giving homages to old Hong Kong cinema, like sprays of blood and shit. But like, I wouldn't mind some like chest slashes where you see a blood pool where like it makes everything feel more realistic. The amount of times, other than the end with Lord Kira, the amount of times a character was beheaded and you didn't see the head, like the body fell, and it's almost as if the head just disappeared from existence. And it's just you could have just gone a little harder. We're not children. Who was this movie for, if not?
I agree. I'm like I said, we're in agreement on that point. I agree with you on it.
Yeah, that's just my little rant on that. If I could jump back just one scene real quick, because we jumped really quick into the Lord seppuku scene. It's fucking insane to me that the wizard or the witch creates the poison spider, and then the poison spider dangles down and comes down, and we're all like, okay, all right, okay, so he's gonna bite. All right, so the spider's now gonna bite the Lord. Okay, cool. Oh, he's going towards his mouth. Oh, like maybe it's a thing where the spider's gonna go inside. Like maybe he's gonna make him get swallowed, and then it's gonna be like inside of the Lord, so it's gonna control him that way. Okay, cool. Spider keeps walking across the mouth. All right, he's not trying to get into that mouth at all. Spider just starts pooping. Spider poops on the guy's mouth and then walks away and leaves with the witch. Such a weird choice. That's how we're going to deliver the poison. Spider poop.
As you kept talking, I just pictured he's like, and he's just going to say it just shits in his mouth. And it's just... Yeah, you're right. That same thought process.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, there's your drop of blood. She did her little like vein blood ritual thing. I take blood out of your body and turn it into a spider. That's their entirety of their blood. And then the spider poop. They're like, oh, you can't have poop in the spider and more blood. That'll go R instantly. I really want that spider to poop in his mouth.
Even the severed head at the end. The severed head at the end, it's like it's cauterized. It's just like a perfectly straight line that doesn't drip. It's got no ooze. It did not just freshly get sliced off of a body. No, because it's clearly a rubber head. Don't get scared, children. What are we doing here? We're not talking about that anymore. We're talking about spider poop.
Yeah.
But no, I just had to jump back and mention that because that's like one of my few actual notes.
Yeah, that is
spider
what
poop.
Made him get up to go do the thing. But yeah, everybody gets disgraced there. Stop being samurai because they don't have a lord anymore because he was a disgrace. And so they become Ronin. And there were about 40 plus. There were more than 47. I think it's implied not all of them show up later. It's just like 47 of them that they could get. But yeah, 47-ish motherfuckers don't have a master anymore. And Oishi, because he was like the right-hand man of the Lord, gets in prison for a year. And that is a deep-ass pit they throw him into.
Right. Like, He's just now visiting. And he walks up to his main guy and he goes, throw him in the pit. Is that just like a Japanese thing? Is that just a feudal Japanese thing? Like, does everybody have a pit? Like, and he just knows. So like the real direction is find the pit, find out where they keep the pit, throw this guy in it. We know they've got a pit somewhere around.
To be fair,
it may toss this dude in there.
An eastern side of the world, like, old thing, because RRR had that prison that was just a bunch of pits. They weren't as deep, but
yeah,
they had that prison that was a bunch of pits in the ground. Drop them in there.
But yeah, no, that pit is fucking deep. It's fucking deep.
And that was further than freaking Hugh Jackman fell in Prestige and broke his leg. Like, I'm like, damn. And they pull him out a year later, and they like break his will, put him in the pit, keep him in the pit a year. Literally gets out, and the first thing he does when he gets home is, son, gather my things, get us some horses. Pretend you divorced me. I'm going after that motherfucker. Wait, what? I'm like, so much for breaking his will, like, at all. And it was just, nope, exact opposite. I've had a year to stew on it now.
That one almost got me. I'm a fucking sucker the movies can play me like a fiddle sometimes. And yeah, that one almost got me when the wife was like, no, I am the wife of a samurai, and thus your duty is my duty. And like I was like, oh, you go, girl. God damn it.
Meanwhile, I'm like, yeah, vengeance.
Yeah, and
I
so
also am easily played by movies.
Right.
Like, oh shit.
My man loves a vengeance quest. What can I say? Yeah, I guess Oishi was spending that entire year in the pit, just like, that motherfucker told me that there was a witch here, and I didn't do nothing. And God damn it, he said that there was a witch there. Because like the first thing he does when he gets out, he's like, you go get my boys, I'm gonna go get Keanu.
God, yeah, we'll go get Keanu. Hey Kai, look, my bad. Look, because Keanu gets sold into slavery and ends up in a fight pit every week, pretty much cage fighting monsters. half breed. And he's
Oishi is a bad dude, man. We have confirmation in this scene that Oishi is a bad motherfucker, because Keanu is portrayed to be a extremely competent sword fighter, very talented dude. Obviously, he's cleaning up this fucking pit. Oishi has been emaciated for over a year, not doing shit about sword training. And literally in like 4 moves has his sword to Keanu's throat and is like, we've got to talk. And then Keanu breaks away and they keep fighting. But like, I was dumbfounded because I thought they were gonna make this be like a huge battle of like who's the best, and they were like, no, this dude is an actual like master samurai who's been probably doing this, has had a sword in his hand since he was like 4. He's going to mop the floor with this guy.
That is true. I love that. But yeah, they eventually split, and like you said, Keanu asked him, why me? Huh? Y'all treated me like shit my whole life. Why do you care now? He's like, you told me there was a witch, and you were right. I ain't listen. So I had to at least free you from slavery. If you want to go back, you can, but I fucked up, and I'm here to say my bad.
And I know you got a thing for Miko. You want to save her?
Yeah, she got to marry the dude that killed her dad, in a week. All right, let's do it. And then we get introduced to the whole like 47 Ronin group. They need swords. We get our comic relief. We get a guy that's kind of presented as the comic relief fat guy. I make jokes. Yeah, I'm here for like 4 lines. and I'm like, oh, so we're gonna get personalities from like more of these people? Only like one, the guy who Keanu saved his life. He's like the only other one aside from Oishi's son that gets any screen time, and it's just so he can have his full character arc of, you bad, I was wrong, you good. That's all he's there for. But and the fat guy's there to be fat and funny for about 5 lines.
And die.
And then die. And that's why I said it for about 5 lines. It's like, hey, do you like this guy?
Yeah.
You think he's funny? Good. We're killing him. Wait, what?
Yeah. He's almost a little sweet. A little saint character, yeah.
That seems to be
I think they earn it.
Recent movies.
They earn it a little bit better than the Little Saint one, but maybe not. I don't know.
At least we see him get attacked.
Yeah.
And we see him get attacked and die. He has a dying speech like, I threw rocks at you. It wasn't even like something heartwarming. It was when you were young and you would go to your cottage. I'd stand outside and throw bottles at you. I knew it was you. I could see your belly sticking from the tree. So yeah, no.
Omar, you read that with a little bit too much emotion in life. Could you?
I'm sorry. I'm not.
Could you pull it back? Could you pull it back? Could you deaden it a little bit? We need to read nothing from you.
And that's another reason why.
Literally, the first half of this movie, I was like, "Is Keanu playing a simpleton?"
No, he's just playing John Wick's ancestor.
Is he like?
Say a lot.
Is he like special? Like in that kind of way?
No, I've seen the John Wick movies too much to just be like, so this is around the time, like you said, it was a year before Wick, where he decided, this is just what I'm doing if I'm gonna be on camera now. Are you?
And I'm not changing. And I'm not changing this.
Yeah. Are you pissed off as I am, John? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty pissed off. I'm gonna need a gun.
He's had like less emotion.
Do you have a suit?
Since the first, we're not here to talk about John Wick. I'm gonna go on a whole other like side.
I need a sword.
Let's.
Are you going to give me the sword?
Yeah. So they need swords. Speaking of which, so Keanu reveals he was trained by demons, and that's why he's so good at fighting. Because he was trained by demons. What kind of demons? Tengu demons. And I was upset because the Tengu are known to be depicted as having large noses. Like, they're a Japanese folklore thing, and they're usually known to have large noses. There's literally Tengu masks that's like that, with the fucking long ass nose. So I'm like, all right, Tengu, and they got like the smallest nose, and just some like bald head dude that's just like, I'm a demon who hates humans, and you went to join the humans after we taught you, though we were demons. Give me some swords. And while Keanu's bargaining with the demon or whatever, he told Oishi not to draw his sword no matter what happens. And the dude's like, if he draws his sword, we'll kill everybody. And we also see the Ronin outside, like, if they take too long, we going in there. So when the Ronin come in, they're like, hey, you were taking too long, and they start getting killed left and right. I'm like, oh, this is how he gets tricked into drawing the sword. And sure enough, he goes to reach for a sword, and then you hear, draw your sword. Do it. Draw it. Draw it in attack. I'm like, he probably would have if he didn't start whispering to him. Like, that's probably the only thing that's, like, causing him hesitation, because he clearly thinks his friends are dying. But then he keeps hearing, do it. Draw the sword. Draw your sword, damn it. But he doesn't, And Keanu, at the same time, uses the demon magic he swore he would never use on his own or whatever to beat the demons, to earn the right to have the swords. And now they're ready to go after the bad guy. But first, one of them needs needs to be informed of where he's at. And so he runs into the witch, who leads everybody into a trap.
Yeah, when he came back to be like, yeah, I've scouted it, we're good. The way he was at, you knew. You're like, nah, something's up. Something's up. This ain't right. This don't feel right.
Nope. And sure enough, it didn't feel right.
Which they didn't need it. They didn't need it. The only thing that happened was that Fat Boy died.
Fat Boy died, and it gave them a way to have an element of surprise later, because somehow it was assumed that they all died. When
which that didn't make any sense.
Like none of them died, except for the fat dude.
Yeah, they shot a few arrows at some folks running away, and
it belonged to Oishi. But yeah, so we get to the fact they find a theater troupe and decide to disguise themselves as them and Trojan horse this wedding. Which leads to the stealth segment, which was pretty cool. I did like the way they were doing that. The fucking arrows and the guys that would go up.
The storming of the castle was awesome.
That shit was great.
Was awesome. That was great.
And it would have worked out fucking perfectly, but of course, this is a movie, so anyway. But of course, it didn't work out. He gets shot at the last second, right before he could hit his head. But then we get our final fights, and the witch turns into some weird dragon thing. Which again, they use the robe, to be she's like, "Aha! I'm doing my robe shit I always do. Focus on the robe. Focus on the robe. Now the robe's a dragon, and I've done as smooth a transition from person to dragon as I can."
Yeah.
So yeah,
I don't mind it.
Way of doing it. And they were fighting. Eventually, Keanu beats the dragon, and that's one of the things when you talk about the lack of any kind of blood, even with the fighting. You couldn't even like when he stabs the dragon in the head. You barely recognize that he's stabbing it. It's kind of just punched it in the head real hard. Sit your ass down. And then she dies. And then you have Oishi versus Kira. Good fight. Oishi wins the day. And then the Shogun brings out the head. For Lord Asano! Immediately just stops all the fighting.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I am distracted right now because I just had something that I wanted to talk about.
Go ahead.
And I'm not sure. And I just have it. I have it freeze framed right now, conveniently, right at the moment. But the big guy, right?
Yeah.
The big guy, the
big metal guy.
Kira's champion.
Yeah.
When that explosion goes off, are they saying that whoever was inside that is practically incinerated into people paste? Or are they saying that it's an empty set of armor controlled by the witch?
That's one of the things I was wondering as well.
And if so, that's a cool choice, and you should have
highlighted that more.
Highlighted that way more than a split second of that explosion going off by them, and then us as the audience going, wait a second, that looked weird. Did they just what?
Yeah, I was wondering that too, because you make a good point. I'm glad you remembered, because that is something that I was like, yeah, he just fucking. Is it a hollow suit of armor, or did he burn to death instantly?
Yeah.
So,
Well, and
no.
it's and honestly, I had it freeze frame like right on the moment, and it's kind of hard to tell. Like it looks like there could be the representation of, but see, that's the other thing is that this movie isn't going to show you any like people paste or
Also
something,
true.
And even if they do, they're not going to tell you it's people paste. So they could have very well accidentally just walked into a very artistic, smart choice that we've found. That
Yeah.
they were just like, oh, well, we can't show a guy exploding. So just like, just have a set of armor exploding. Nobody will fucking notice.
Pretty much. But no, that is a good question. That I also wondered with that. But yeah, Shogun's like, I told your asses not to get revenge, and y'all should be hung like criminals. But Kira's an asshole, so y'all get to seppuku instead. Because you still disobeyed me, but at least you did it for a good reason. So they do the seppuku, and right before they get to, we have, the goodbye scene with Keanu and Co. The whole I will search for you in 1,000 lifetimes through 1,000 universes. And she's like, I'll wait for you in all of them. And I'm like, okay, that's cheesy, but I get it. They're going, and right before they're all about to kill themselves, the Shogun's like, wait! And at first I'm like, he's not changing his mind, is he, after all of this setup? And he's like, Chikara, Oishi, I'm not denying the world your bloodline. Okay, now kill yourselves. I'm like, not fair enough. At least Oishi gets to die knowing that his son lives.
Like credit to the film for making that choice for all of their main characters. It's hard for It's hard for big studio to commit to something like that, I would imagine.
Yeah. And sure enough, they all pass, and then it tells you that the tale of the 47 Ronin is told throughout Japan and blah blah blah, which it is, because apparently it's a real story, just without the dragons and the super beasts and Keanu Reeves.
Yep.
But yeah, that is 47 Ronin. What you think,
Yes, it is.
What you think?
Yeah. It has some solid moments. Like I think the things that I had an issue with, I already addressed on a large degree, I think. I think if you go back in time and you say, hey, this dude's about ready to fucking restart the R action genre, I think you make this an R-rated film with some blood, and I would even say you heighten the fantasy even more. Like, give me some more. You pretty much just have the beast battle, them going to Keanu's birthplace, and the witch, and that's about it. Like, I could take more. Like, if you're gonna say that this is a fantasy world we live in, give me a bunch of stuff. I'm cool with that. So I think that would have improved the movie a little bit. But overall, it's watchable. It's a C+ popcorn movie.
Okay.
Watch if you got plenty of time.
you got like an hour and a half that you can kill. It's not that bad. I like that C+ popcorn movie, because that's a good explanation. It does some things pretty cool. There are some good choices, but it's held back enough.
Like, maybe you could show it to like younger relatives or offspring, but I don't even know, like, what.
Sure yeah,
because you got the whole seppuku aspect
to
it all that you'd have to explain.
Yeah, and Yeah, and there's certain ages you don't want to be like, yeah, this is the most honorable thing you can do, kid. I'm honored. So yeah, there's a weird age range you got to think about. So yeah, but overall, I don't regret having seen it or anything like that. And I've clearly watched it twice now. So there you go. But yeah, C plus popcorn-ish. That's what we got. Decent movie. Not necessarily one you have to see. So Bill, what are we watching next week? Or whenever we do this next.
Well, we are going to go back to one of our favorites.
Ooh.
Monsieur Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Van Damme?
We are going to be watching Kickboxer next week.
Oh, shit.
On This Guy Hasn't Seen.
That's a classic. Anyway, yep, that's right. If you want to see other stuff of ours, well, you know, you can find a lot of our stuff here, including when we watched Bloodsport. It was one of our earlier reviews on this channel. Spoilers to how I felt about that movie.
Kumite, Kumite.
Kumite, Kumite. But yes, you can also find me elsewhere on YouTube on the Whatever We Want podcast with new episodes every week, every Wednesday, and do it with a good friend of mine, a good friend of the show, Super Jazz.
Super Jazz.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I also have a Twitter and Twitch. That's Giotavi at Giotavi. Come on in, stop on by. Bill, you got anything you want to say to the folks out there?
Oh, man. Nah.
Aight. Well, there you have it. We'll see you next time with Kickboxer. Adiosness.